Today we are going to study the poem Wind, which we have already studied in online classes. This poem is composed by Subramanya Bharti. And before starting the stanza of the poem, I would like to tell you about different poetic devices that is used in the poem. The very first poetic device, which is personification. And I hope you must know what is personification. We have already studied. Personification means when some non-living beings perform as a living being. So in this poem you can see wind which is performing as a human being, which performs many activities, which plays many roles. So here we can find personification. And second poetic device, which is metaphor. Metaphor when we compare between two different objects without using like or as. So the whole poem Wind is metaphor. Metaphor is used in the whole poem Wind, as wind is being compared. And one thing more I would like to tell you about here, that here we are in this poem we are going to study two different aspects of the wind, constructive as well as destructive. Wind is performing as a constructive object as well as destructive object. Third poetic device, which is very important, is alliteration. In alliteration, what we find? In alliteration, we get consonant sound, repetition of consonant sound. Like you can see in the fifth stanza, in the very last stanza, there is a line. I am noting down this line here. Strong fires roar and flourish. In this line you can see there is fire and flourish. The first letter, which is F of both the words, is consonant, and that's why this is these two letters is being repeated also. So there is alliteration. And the fourth one is repetition. What is repetition? Repetition when we find the same word repeated different times, different places. Like you can see there is a word crumbling, and this word you can find in the third stanza. Crumbling, like the line is given: frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, and crumbling hearts. So the same word crumbling, which is being repeated many times at many places, so there is repetition. So this is the different poetic devices that is used here. Now we'll go through stanza wise explanation of the poem. So we move to the first stanza of the poem. The first stanza is wind, come softly, don't break the shutters of the windows, don't scatter the papers, don't throw down the books on the shelf. In this first stanza, the poet simply makes a request to the wind. The poet makes a request to the wind to come softly. Why the poet makes the request in the first stanza? The poet makes the request to the wind. Why the poet makes request to the wind? Because poet knows very well that wind is very powerful and we cannot stand against the wind. So the poet requests to the wind to come softly, don't break the shutters of the windows. And the poet again requests not to break the shutters of the windows, don't scatter the papers. The poet requests to the wind not to scatter the papers, and don't throw down the books on the shelf. And the poet again requests to the wind not to throw down the books on the shelf. So simply in the first stanza the poet makes different requests to the wind to not perform many activities. Now move to the second stanza. In the second stanza, there, look what you did, you threw them all down, you tore the pages of the books, you brought rain again, you are very clever at poking fun at victims. So simply the poet is reminding to the wind, the poet reminds to the wind what the wind has done. The poet says to the wind to look what the wind had done. The wind had thrown them all. Here, them is used for books. The poet had thrown the books all down. you tore the pages of the books. The poet again reminds the wind that he had torn out the pages of the books. Then you brought the rain again, and poet says that the wind had brought the rain again. You are very clever at poking fun at weaklings. And the poet says that the wind is very clever. Why the wind is very clever? Because it makes fun of weaklings. It makes fun of only weak people, not the strong people. If our houses are very strong, it will not destroy our house. But if our houses are weak, it will destroy easily. So in the second stanza, in the first stanza, the poet makes request to the wind. In the second stanza, the poet reminds the wind what the wind had done. And moving forward to the third stanza, the poet says that frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. It means here frail means weak. Frail means weak, and crumbling means break. Crumble means break. So what the wind is doing, according to the poet, wind is breaking the houses, crumbling houses. It is breaking the houses, crumbling doors. It is breaking the doors, crumbling rafters. It breaks the rafters, crumbling wood. It breaks the wood, crumbling bodies. It breaks the bodies, crumbling lives. It breaks the lives also, and crumbling hearts. It also breaks the hearts. It means wind is very powerful, and we cannot face the wind. We cannot face the challenges. Try to understand, students, here. Wind is just a difficulty in our life. Wind is just a struggle in our life that we have to face, but we are not able to face because wind is very powerful. So in the third stanza, simply the poet says that the wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. Whatever you request to the wind to do, wind doesn't do. Wind has to do what it wants because it is powerful, and it will not accept your request. So in the fourth stanza, the poet will say, instead of requesting to the wind, we should make ourselves strong. Then only we can face the challenges. Then only we can face the obstacles. So moving forward to the fourth stanza, let's read the fourth stanza. So come, let's build strong homes. Build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to form the body. Make the heart steadfast. Simply, the poet thinks that instead of requesting to the wind, we should make our homes strong. We should make our doors firm. We should practice to make our body firm, and we should make our heart steadfast. Instead of requesting, we should make ourselves strong. Then only we can face the wind. It means we have to be enough strong. We have to be enough strong to face the challenges in our life. We have to be enough strong to face the obstacles in our life. Then only we can face the wind. Coming to the last stanza, do this and the wind will be friends with us. Okay, very simple. I would like to give you an example. If you want to make a person, in the fifth stanza, if you want to make friend of a person who is very strong, you have to be strong enough, because only the strong person becomes a friend of a strong one. So here wind is strong. If you want to make friend of, if you want to be friend of wind, you have to be strong. So in the fifth stanza, you can see the first line, do this and the wind will be friends with us. So if you make your house strong, if you make your body firm, if you make your heart steadfast, wind automatically will become your friend. And the wind blows out weak fires, he makes strong fires soar and flourish. His friendship is good, we praise him every day. A very simple example the poet is giving here. Poet says that if fire is very weak, it is blown out very easily by the wind. But if the fire is very strong, even wind takes time to blow out this fire. So if you are strong enough, wind cannot destroy you. If you are brave enough, if you are able to face the challenges, wind will become your friend. So this is a very short description of the poem explanation of the poem Wind. I hope this is very beneficial for you. Thanks a lot.